Hello? Hey, hi. My name is Joe Stewart. I'm a designer and a co-founder of a digital design and development agency called Work Co, based in New York and Portland and in Rio. And today, what I want to talk about is this idea of going from design thinking to design doing. So I saw that many of you have heard this phrase, design thinking. Have any of you been to a design thinking session as part of your work? Okay. I think this is a phrase that's garnered a lot of attention and grown a lot in the last couple years and become a bigger and bigger part of what's happening in the industry. And I'm not convinced this is such a great idea. I think at its core, the idea of bringing together a bunch of people from different backgrounds to work on solving a problem is good. But in my experience with these sessions, they don't tend to lead to actionable results. So what I want to talk about today is an equally simple practice that's made to lead to more concrete ideas. So first I have to let the cat out of the bag. I actually hate this phrase, design thinking. And I think the reason why is every time I've been to one of these sessions, I've never seen any design, ever. And maybe I just find that insulting as a designer, I guess. I don't know. But the phrase really bothers me. It just seems so grandiose, and all of us in this industry feel the need to make everything be more special and more fancy than it really is. Like, everyone just needs to kind of like calm down about it. Like, it's just talking. It's fine. Like, why can't we just call it talking? Let's just talk about something. There's no big deal. I don't know why everything has to be so fancy and trademarkable. It's like called playing with Lego architecture thinking or something. Everyone just needs to calm the hell down. We're just talking. It's fine. That being said, there are some good things about this practice. And the first thing is that it gets a lot of people involved, and that's good. It's good to have lots of people as part of what we're doing. And the second thing is it lowers the barrier to entry, which is good. There's a common misconception that problem solving is a difficult thing to do and intimidating and maybe something that is not for me. But really, a lot of people should be involved in this, and that's one good thing about it. Is it lowers the barrier to entry from a cognitive level. But there's a really, really, really big problem with this practice. And what typically happens is after the end of several hours, there's 1,000 Post-it notes on a wall, and there's no idea what to do with any of them. And maybe this is why I'm so bitter about this, because I'm usually the guy that they hire to go figure out what to do with those 1,000 Post-it notes. And candidly, it's just not that helpful. So this is basically like kind of how design works. So on one side, you have your business. On the other side, you have your customer. And what design is figuring out an interface to go between those two things. So you could be making an app or a poster or a parking sign, whatever it is. This is what you're doing. You're connecting your business with your customer. And the idea here is like, just put 1,000 Post-it notes between those. Like, that's crazy. And what it's so insulting is people just walk out of the room after the end of these sessions. Just put up 1,000 Post-it notes. Done. Great. Good job. Let's go to the next meeting. It's just like, this is not design at all. I find this insulting. Design is not making 1,000 ideas. Design is making 1,000 ideas into one idea. Design is about focus. It's about cutting things. It's about saying no to things. It's about taking everything that's left over after you've said no and turning that into one small, holistic notion. And this is kind of scary to do. It's scary to task somebody with taking your entire business and turning that into an interface for your customer in a simple way that's easy to get, that hopefully people like. But it's also kind of crazy that the only people we task with this is designers. There are so many more people who are good at understanding what a company is supposed to be doing and understanding what their audience is supposed to be receiving and could be acting as a mediator. And right now, this is all outsourced to designers, and that's kind of ludicrous. And what I want the goal of this talk to be today is to encourage everyone in this audience to start participating in the first early phases of design. Because the big secret is that 80% of all the decisions are made in the first half, this very, very short first part of design, which requires absolutely no technical skill whatsoever. Every single person in this room can participate in this first part, the most important part of design. And it's no big secret, but this is how it like kind of typically works. So in the beginning, this is like a normal like project plan, like super simplified, right? Everyone has lots of ideas, and then there's conceptual sketches, and then there's design development, fonts and colors and all that stuff. And the thing is all the big decisions are made here in this conceptual sketch phase. What's in, what's out, what's important, what's big, what's small, what does our company really stand for? What are we really saying? Is all right here. And we outsource this only to the design team. Designers are good at this. You're keeping us in business, thank you. But more and more people should be doing this and could be doing this. And this is the crux of what I'm talking about, this idea of conceptual sketching. This isn't a complicated idea. It's not a new idea. But it's something that, for whatever reason, is not part of the way most people do problem solving. And it's a really simple way to make complicated decisions. And that's really what design is in a nutshell. You have a complicated decision, and you need to be able to turn that into a simple idea. And this process, sketching, does that. It's incredibly fast. Anybody can do it. And it forces you to do a lot of the hard thinking. It forces you to really make decisions. It forces you to say no. It forces you to make tough calls. And this is why. If you draw something, you have to look at your solution through your customer's perspective. You can't look at your solution through your IT stack or through your operations perspective or even through your internal company's perspective. You have to look at your solution through your customer's perspective. This is user-centered design, and this is, in my opinion, the appropriate way to solve business problems is through the lens of your user. And when you draw something, you have to see it through your customer's eyes. This is why it's really valuable, and this is why I encourage more and more people to start thinking this way. What you're shooting for here is a simple design that says a lot. If you can express a complicated idea with a simple sketch, chances are it's a really good design. If you can hand someone a napkin sketch and they understand what you're saying, you're gold. This is hard to do, and it'll take a little bit of practice, but you can get there. But this is nothing new, but more people need to be doing this. I'm going to show you a real-life example of what I'm talking about to kind of get an example out. So a little while ago, I was asked to design a homepage for an airline website. And normally what you would do is you'd start with a frame. This is the level I'm talking about. It's like really shitty designing, or like really shitty drawings. Bad. Anybody can do this. So normally what you'd do is you'd have like a website, and what most people do is they put a big pretty picture of like a couple holding hands and a sunset, and it's totally meaningless. And then there's a little tiny box in the corner, and there's 500 decisions in this tiny box. And this is fucking insane, but this is what every single airline website looks like. Go look at all of them. They all look exactly like this. It's ridiculous. So we decided to take a step back, and what really happened is me and my design partner, Felipe, were sitting in our client offices in a little room, just staring at a wall, drawing little sketches, thinking of how we could make this better. So the first decision that we had to make was, why do people come to airline websites? And what we decided was to buy airline tickets. It seems simple, but it's more complicated than you might think. So what we did was, first, we gave the whole top half of the screen, instead of that little tiny square, to do that one thing that you want to do, which is buying airline tickets. And then the bottom can be all that messaging, and if you want to put a sunset, like, go crazy, I don't care. But what you're doing is allowing for this whole space to be about what that tiny box is about. So these are all the things that are in that tiny box, but now it's much more spread out, there's much more working room. And this is already a pretty big improvement, but you can take it further than that. And the simplest, most basic, most powerful design exercise that you can do is to figure out, what are the least amount of things I need to still have it be a working solution? So what's the least amount of things that I need? And it turns out, for the homepage of an airline, it's not that much. You need to know where you're coming from. You need to know where you're going to. and you need a submit button. That's it. This is a sketch of an airline website. This is it. Anybody can do this, but you have to think about what you're doing. You have to prioritize what's important. In this case, what's important is buying airline tickets. Big pictures of people holding hands, not important. And you can go further than this if you want. You can start thinking about more deep functionality, like personalization. So this simple sentence, "Hi, Natasha, are you going to LA again?" says a lot. It says that we know who you are, we know where you fly, and because of that, we know where you're at now, where you like to go, and then a submit button. And then this led to this design. So this is the Virgin America homepage that I designed. But it's really just that simple sketch. This is the easier part. This is just brute force, going at it, designing 8 million versions of something. The harder part is that sketch. And I really like doing that sketch work, but I think everyone in this room can be doing that work and then outsourcing the design development to the design team, to people who understand the sort of nuts and bolts of color theory and typography and all that fun stuff. And this works for lots and lots of things. So this is the app that I designed for Virgin, and the design is this. This is the design. This is just execution. This is the hard part, thinking, what do I want out of an airline app? There's two things. I want to know what I need to do next, and I want to check in my frequent flyer stuff. That's all anybody wants. So there you go. There's the design. Works for everything. So what I want to encourage is to move from working like this to working like that. So this is a really simple language that everyone can teach themselves as a way to begin doing critical problem solving. And this is nothing new. This has been done for generations. This is Vignelli, probably my favorite designer, designing a book. He's just drawing grids. But this has been done for so long, but I don't understand why more people aren't doing this, because it's an incredibly fast, efficient way to get to really strong ideas, or to see if your idea is bad. That's another super powerful thing. How fast can you see if your design sucks? Draw it. You'll find out real fast. It works too. It's a really good way to get 1,000 ideas really quickly and to quickly turn that into one simple idea that then you can go build and prototype and user test. So at Work Co, our typical process is to build a user test in about 20 days, and you can only really do this if you're using this method. And the business results are there too. So the Virgin America website that I just showed had a 14% increase in conversion based on the new design. So there's business reasons to be thinking this way as well. Anybody can do this. You all should be doing this. So stop design thinking and start design doing. Thank you.